would say for filmmakers to plan ahead. I think that we probably waited till way too late in the game, and I don't think not everybody gets as lucky as we did with Blake, but you get so caught up in the filmmaking process and you have all these big ideas in your head of what you want the score and the soundtrack to be like, and then you find yourself with 3 months before your premiere and you're like, oh shit, what do we do? So I would say keep that in mind in the development of the film, actually, planning that ahead.
An exercise I've told students to do, and that I still do, is stay up writing until 2 a.m, something that you really like and you're really proud of, and leave it open on your computer, and when you get up the next morning, highlight all and delete and throw it in the trash. Because it literally will get you prepared for what you have to do. I do it all the time. That's not cynicism either. I mean, it really happens. And empty the trash so you can't get it back.
Just a tip for composers, and I guess especially young composers, but I've just sort of realized the pattern here. Blake sent us an unsolicited email when he heard about our project, and we ended up hiring him. The last 2 films I made that had much smaller budgets than this film, I also hired composers who had heard about the subject matter of my film, young composers who emailed me, and I was a young director. And my last film, I think at least 5 or 6 young composers emailed me when they'd heard about my film, and I ended up hiring one of them as well. And he didn't make much money, and you know, we worked really hard on it, but he's gotten a lot of projects out of that film. So just send unsolicited emails if you're interested in the subject matter.
Well, I guess I'll take it a little different direction. I think it's really important that you don't go into any career, whether it's a filmmaker or a composer, thinking that there's a way you're supposed to be. I think you have to work hard to develop your own voice, and the longer I do this, the more I realize I'm just pushing who I am, whatever makes me individual, whatever makes my music sound like my music. And that's what seems to have led to more success, rather than trying to fit into some mold or be another Ennio Morricone, not that I could, but you know, things like that. So, you know, develop your own voice and be proud of it. Peter?
Well, many people have said what I was thinking, but I like to return to that feeling I get when I first start a movie. There's just a sense of wonder and magic about what happens when you put music to an image and you're just playing around. And you know, as you get into the process and you're trying to hit deadlines and please people, you kind of get far away from that. I think just stay true to that. Have fun and that sense of wonder about the magic that happens when you put music to film and it works.
I guess I would go back to your question about up-and-coming composers. I live in Portland. I never moved to LA. I never got an apprenticeship. I would say the way I've gone about it is just by hoofing it to festivals, by meeting directors that I like. Some of them are still in film school, by being willing to demo for them, and honestly being willing, unfortunately, to work for not much money or nothing. Yeah. Yeah, and anyway, that's the way that I cut my way into it. And,
yeah, I would say, I think somebody said this earlier, but just being open to the process and being open to collaboration. You know, specifically with this film, you know, towards the end of the movie, there's a bunch of emotional beats that happen one after another, and you know, in my temp score, it was like we need music, and Mark came up and said, you know what, like there are places where you don't need anything at all, you know. And like my knee-jerk reaction was like, you're crazy, like we have to have music, you know, that's how you get emotion across. But you know, after I sort of went home and slept with it and everything, I was like, you know, he's right. And there's one scene, you know, I'm thinking of the kitchen where they make the tortillas and stuff, yeah. And that scene is completely dry. I think there's like a sound of like gas coming from the stove top or something. But at a screening last night, you know, there was a lot of sniffles in the crowd, and you know, I feel like that scene is so much powerful because, you know, I was able to shut up and listen to Mark.